Episode 8, Alex, we're coming off of a TNG episode, but before that, the last DS9 episode we watched was Q-Less, an episode that we enjoyed a hell of a lot more than seemingly everybody.
Like I said earlier, hell was completely frozen over. I don't understand how we were just completely on the opposite ends of the spectrum with that. But I think and that episode and the episode before that was Captive's Pursuit, right? I just want to mention Captive's Pursuit again because I love that episode. But I love the next episode as well. And I think Deep Space Nine might be no, I was going to say the best, season 1 of Star Trek. I totally forgot about TOS. We're not there yet.
Yeah. At first, I thought maybe, we're in that early TNG phase where we're really liking this only because this is all we've seen. But I don't know, man. We're watching TNG simultaneously with this, and I'm putting these episodes right up there with a lot of those.
Chief O'Brien has escorted his wife back to Earth to celebrate her mother's 100th birthday.
Whoa! Oh, yeah, because people live a long time.
Another wreck to Gino.
It'll keep me up all night.
I can think of better ways of keeping you up.
Jeez. Talk about forward.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Not necessary, Julian. But not forbidden either.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Except now he's going to witness whatever's about to happen to her.
Dax!
Oh, there you go. Spring it in.
Ooh! That TOS double fist, all right. Now, do you think you stopped because of her ears or because she's a woman?
Probably because she's a woman, I would guess. Okay, so fighting is definitely not a high stat for Dax. Julian at least hit an major tap. It was 3-on-1.
Yeah. I thought maybe, having that, being a Trill, for some reason you get super strength. But I guess not.
Yes, Major.
Okay.
We turn right at the next corridor.
DC Fontana!
Ooh, been a while since we've seen that name.
Avoid the security tracking grid. You seem to know a lot about the station.
Oh, David Carson again.
Major, survey all ships in dock with a high warp capability.
Have they still yet to have a first-time Star Trek director? They've all been Paul Lynch, David Carson, Colby.
Yeah. God damn.
We lost them.
Chief's gone for one day and all security just goes to shit.
Well, it should be Odo's job to have this locked down.
Engage tractor beam.
Oh, that was good.
Ship blows up. Oh, well.
Mr. Worf.
Thanks.
Oh, are you all right?
They already did something to her.
What?
You
What'd
see
they
her
do?
face when she came off?
What about it?
Just the way she's acting.
Fugitive Dax is charged with treason and the murder of my father.
Damn.
Damn.
Are we gonna go to court?
The warrant says Dax was responsible for the death of General Ardelon Tandro 30 years ago.
He never mentioned he'd even been to Klystron 4. Strange.
Not so strange, considering these charges.
Odo, let me tell you something. He was not a murderer.
How about a traitor? It says Dax betrayed the Klystron government to the rebels.
It's all nonsense, Constable. I'm telling you I knew the man.
But did you know the symbiont inside the man?
Well, yes, that's who the personality was.
Yeah. The body's just a shell. They don't have any control.
I've sent a subspace message to Klystron 4 requesting confirmation of the warrant. That's the only stall I could think of.
What kind of room is this? Is that a cell separated by trinkets?
This station is technically Bajoran.
What does that mean to us?
You don't have an extradition treaty with Bajor.
Ooh.
How did you know your way around the station so well?
My conversation is with the commander.
No, your conversation is with my first officer now. I'm afraid Bajoran interests are involved. And Bajor is adamant that At least I believe it's adamant.
Oh, yes.
You see, there will have to be an extradition hearing before I can lawfully release Lieutenant Dax.
I think they're just bullshitting right there.
I don't know, but I love the 1-2 combo of them
Yeah.
grilling into somebody, and he's had a hearing, so we might be going to court.
I'm not shutting down for any butcher hearing.
I'm sure Lieutenant Dax would appreciate it.
You know, Quark would not have shut down for COVID.
You know, I think this bar is just a little too near the exit.
This is blackmail.
No, it's just business. And business is business.
All right. All right. Odo would be the one, making sure everyone's 6 feet apart in the bar. Where's your mask?
Now, that's a coincidence. Our good friend Quark just donated the use of his facility for the hearing.
Nice gesture.
I thought so. This case has 30 years of dust covering it. The extradition hearing will take about 30 minutes.
I was hoping to make it a little longer than that.
Yeah, he's just straight up against Dax. Very interesting. I mean, just going off the evidence, obviously, no personal connection.
Wait, who's against Dax?
Odo.
Really?
Yeah, he thinks...
Thinks Odo did it?
No, he doesn't think it himself did it. He thinks Dax did it.
That's the fucking lady from TNG.
This will be an informal hearing, so I'm going to
survivors.
start with some informal
Yes,
advice.
she's also from Liar Liar.
The evidence was contained in military files, which were officially sealed until recently.
Fine. Sit.
She has Judge Judy aura.
This young woman wasn't even born 30 years ago.
You are arguing semantics. This creature is a trill.
Cisco, I hope you have a better argument than that.
Yeah, come on.
Different host, a different person. So I submit that the person he wants to extradite no longer exists, and I challenge him to prove otherwise.
Trying to win on a technicality? Come on.
But the penalty for these crimes on your planet is death, and that is rather permanent. So, before I grant extradition, you will convince me, please, that the person named in your warrant is the person who is standing here now.
Bought a little time, at
Yeah.
least.
I mean, obviously, otherwise a Trill could just commit a crime and then switch bodies. So, they can't hold up, but, I mean, it's bought them enough time.
So they got to get Julian in there to cut her open.
Yeah. Here is a picture of the Trill. Now.
Major,
Excuse me, sir. I don't know that there is any medical evidence on that.
assume there is, then find it.
Ooh, no. Cisco, this ain't it, bro.
But if you could check the Federation computers for any precedents, legal decisions involving trills,
Kirk would give orders like that.
Yeah.
I can't fight what I don't know about.
Commander Cisco, there's a subspace communication from Odo on Klystron 4.
This really goes to show why Picard is so great in this type of environment,
Whoever did murder that General Ardalan Tandro, it got his troops so mad they went out and won their civil war. They made the general a national hero. There are statues of him all over the place.
Martyr.
If those charges are true, I'd want to hang Curzon Dax up by his heels myself. The general left a widow. If the two men were that close, she has to remember something about Curzon Dax that's not on the record.
What if Cisco's? All right, Your Honor. To bring in for an arbitrary, I'll call upon the Grisellas
to arbitrate.
They'll come out of hibernation in 9 months.
So Dax has no alibi.
That cannot possibly be enough to convict him.
I think maybe there was this was a plan between Curzon Dax and the General.
Jadzia is the new host.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Sounds like she had a close relationship with Curzon here.
But then that might be a motive for Curzon to kill the husband. But I still don't buy it, obviously. Did she not know it was a Trill?
Or the husband knew about them cheating and tried to kill them.
How do you come here?
Because another Trill is involved, the Trillian government requested that I be present during the extradition.
Trillion.
So, if a crime is committed by a trill, then the symbiont's next host would remain aware of it, would recall that crime.
Yes, absolutely. They have to be old enough to make an informed judgment as to whether or not they really want to be joined.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know they got to make the choice.
It's a total sharing, a blending of both symbiont and host. neither is suppressed by the other.
The accused can remember any crime she committed as Curzon Dax, and nothing can be truthfully asserted in this hearing that can alter that fact.
Yes, the memories were passed to an entirely new host, to an entirely different person.
You can't let Dax get away with murder!
So that's some new Trill info.
Yeah, that makes me a little bit more, like, I see it, but I still think his actual argument's way too far-fetched of them being separate people.
Send the symbiont back to stand trial. Keep the host here.
I'm afraid it's a bit more complicated than that.
Oh, what a surprise.
The symbiont and the host are biologically interdependent. 93 hours after they've joined, neither can survive without the other.
I see.
Cut it out anyway.
As you can see, they are distinctly different, which clearly illustrates that Curzon and Jadzia are two unique individuals.
Thank you, Doctor.
Good shot.
That was, yeah.
In fact, is there evidence of any change at all in the symbiont since it joined with its new host? Yes or no?
No.
Thank you, Dr. Bashir.
You know, this guy's pretty good. If he's not a prosecutor, maybe he should consider it.
Yeah, if he's just some guy. Is that the son of the guy?
Yeah.
Okay. He should be a prosecutor for sure.
I'd like to call the one person in this courtroom who knew Curzon Dax. Me.
You know where the witness stand is?
It'd be hilarious if he asked himself questions.
Commander Sisko.
What if it were the Curzon host that was responsible? Then the surviving symbiont would be completely innocent.
No. They'd both be guilty. You yourself have argued that the two personalities once joined function as one.
New person.
Jadzia Dax is an entirely new entity.
Following a 1-hour recess, Lieutenant Dax will take the witness stand.
She's like, I'm taking this over. She's like, we gotta wrap this up. It sucks because instinctually, I don't agree with him. Like, I don't agree with Sisko in what he's presenting. He's doing a really good job arguing it.
If you won't defend yourself, you're not going to testify.
It's a hearing, not a trial. She has no choice.
Oppenheimer knew what he was doing. He wanted to be the man who moved the earth.
I just don't know if it's the right argument to try to make.
I think that's the only argument to make, though. I like
Yeah,
both.
Because it's not a trial, yeah.
Yeah, I love when it's an argument where I can see both sides.
But the law does show a number of conversations between Dax's office and General Tandro's home. A number of the conversations took place while the general was away at the front.
Knew it. And what did he say earlier? He had a thing for women.
Maybe it was innocent. Maybe he was just providing a little emotional support during tough times.
Maybe she killed him. And he took the fall.
If they were having an affair, that translates into a pretty solid motive for murder.
What if the son is half whatever species that was and half Trill?
Wait, Curzon Dax was actually his father?
Yeah!
That would be pretty crazy.
My husband was not the hero in life that he was in death, Mr. Odo. In death, he became a legend. For he was, and always will be, the hero who died for his people.
Damn. I love how they've been able to build out the complexity of this character who's dead that we never even met, you know?
Then what is it that's holding you back? Help me. Damn it, if you were still a man.
You punch him? That'd be a bit odd.
I see your temper hasn't improved.
Don't talk to me about my temper.
Do you remember that Argosian lieutenant who threw a drink in your face?
And you knocked me down with a right cross before I could kill him. I still have a little scar here from you.
Okay, they used to punch each other. It was normal for them.
Okay.
I can tell you that he did love her, for whatever that's worth.
Enough to kill her husband.
So you are questioning?
What else can I do?
Nothing, Benjamin. Nothing at all.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was like her first scene where I felt like she was actually, giving a good performance, not just technobabble behind the thing.
How can anyone justify trying her for a crime allegedly committed by another entity before she was even born?
I just feel like that's the risk you take when you accept to have a Trill put in you.
As a Trill candidate, did Jadzia fully understand the responsibilities to be assumed upon becoming a Trill? And would that not obviously include the consequences of criminal acts committed by Curzon Dax.
It was me, Austin!
This hearing is unnecessary. The accusations are erroneous.
Mother, what are you talking about?
Mother.
Curzon Dax is accused of sending a transmission to the enemy that betrayed my husband. But I know where Curzon was at the exact time that transmission was sent. He was in my bed.
In front of the sun is crazy. Could have just said with you. You had to specify.
This hearing is adjourned.
I thought it was going to be her admitting to the murder, though.
Yeah, like, so, who did the murder?
It was kind of you to try and protect me.
There's much of Curzon that's still a part of me, that still remembers what you had together.
This would be such a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
As for you, there is one favor I would ask. Live, Jadzia Dax.
Oh, a little fade out to black end on the scene. All right. All right. Okay, we just watched Dax, the character in the episode Dax of DS9. And now we're going to talk about it. First, starting with our whiteboards. For me, there was a couple of things that I love that were in this episode. And that's court and shrill lore. Love to see it. What about you?
Absolutely. Well, Josh, you said court. I said, we're going to court, but I crossed out court and put a hearing. And I put pretty good.
Yeah, I'll admit, at the beginning of this episode, maybe 10-ish minutes into it, I wasn't feeling it like I wasn't like super into it or bought in right away. This one for me was one that really gradually got me more interested as it went on. I appreciated the mystery aspect of it. I appreciated all of the performances, the guest characters in particular. I think all were either good to, held their own and did what they needed to do. There was no glaringly bad ones. Not my favorite episode of the show thus far or anything, but I think one thing the show is doing really well thus far is building out these characters, and, people have had their own episodes. This was Dax's first episode, focused on her, and it's literally called Dax, and it was the first time I felt like, this actress actually got to do something, so I appreciated all that.
Yeah, she finally got to do something, but unfortunately she was silent for a lot of it.
Yeah.
We're looking at it as an overall thing. It's very much a run-of-the-mill type court episode. Fighting for your friend, other side opposes, your friend's not giving you the whole details. Go all the way to the end, reveals the details. It's not what you think, but everything is fine at the end. But overall, the stuff in it, I very much enjoyed. The Trill lore, per se, I thought these host people were just, screwed. I thought they were just, people farms.
Yeah, I thought they were literally like slaves to the Trill, yeah.
Yeah, but no, to find out they've lived entire lives and have accomplishments and there's scholarships.
And they choose to do this?
They choose to do this, and apparently it's a brand new person. One thing I love about good court episodes, it's a hearing, is whenever both sides can point out the argument to me and I can look at both sides. One might be a little bit more far-fetched, I'd say Cisco's here, but as the episode went along more, they really did try to separate the two entities. Kind of reminded me of The Substance. It's like, remember, did you see The Substance?
No, but I know, obviously.
But basically, in the beginning it's like you are one, but by the end of the film, it almost seems like there's two different entities going on here. And I got that kind of thing is going on here as well, because especially from what we know of the Trill from the Beverly episode, it seems like they're just the same person. But in this one, they definitely made the distinction, and you felt the distinction between Curzon and Jadzia. Wow, I can't believe I remember those names. But overall, yeah, it was a fine episode. Got to shout out the returning cast member that I finally noticed one from the Survivors. Recognized her right away, so I'm getting better.
Yeah, and court episodes are really cool because they can do them in a lot of different ways. And if I compare this, not quality of the episode wise, but compare it thematically to Measure of a Man, you think about Measure of a Man, Brad Maddox, and Brad Maddox is the WWE referee.
WWE guy. Oh my god, yeah.
Bruce Maddox and Riker, who he has as his voice or whatever in the court, their argument isn't good about Data. And like Riker does a great job, he does his best, but it's just not a good argument. And then when Picard comes up, he just destroys it immediately. And we said that in our reaction. Here, it's not quite the flip side. It's a little bit more even, but I personally disagree with Sisko. And I thought that it was so interesting because when he first gets brought up and he's talking to Kira and Dr. Bashir, and he's like, no, only look for this answer. And I'm like, don't do that. Like, that's what, like state prosecutors and stuff, when they're doing a case, like they find their answer first, then the evidence to get there. It's like, that's not good. But then I really ended up enjoying how through his arguments, it made me see his point more. I still disagree because I think the implication of a Trill being able to commit a crime and then as long as they're able to get into another host before they're caught, like I disagree. But like you said, this is a hearing. Like the only thing they're concerned with is your extradition valid enough to take Jadzia Dax with you? And obviously once the mother comes forward and says, hey, he's not even guilty, okay, well now none of this matters. You can't take, Dax because you don't even have your shit figured out. So that's fine. But the implication of Sisko's argument, I don't agree with. So it's very interesting seeing myself not be on the captain's or commander's side. And then also with this guest character who's kind of the prosecutor, every time he came up, I agreed with what he was saying. I agreed with his arguments, but he's not the one who I'm rooting for. So it's a very interesting core episode in that way.
It is interesting to view it from that lens per se, because I think I do agree with you. There is an argument for Sisko's side, but I do agree that you can't just murder people and jump to a new body. Oh, I'm a new person now. Part of you is still there. And yeah, every argument the guy had, the son was one that meme was like, oh damn, that's a good point. But in terms of other things to talk about, I gotta say I was disappointed right off the bat at the beginning when the Chief was gone.
Yeah, and what would he have done in this episode anyway?
Stopped him from escaping faster.
Oh yeah, I did like how they get away, but then bring him back with the tractor.
That was a good shot. David Carson directing here. That shot was good. The stand up in front of the camera, that's definitely been done before.
Yeah, because a courtroom, as much as we love courtroom stuff, it can be directionally pretty dry if you don't know what you're doing. So David Carson did a great job keeping it, lively. I wanted to dig a little bit deeper on the point we were talking about, because even if you agree with Sisko about this being a new person once the Trill switches, because we did learn, which I did not, I understand they're kind of rewriting what the Trill are from the host. Like they're not taking the host for 100% what the species is. They're doing their own thing with it. So I didn't really take into account the joining. And it makes so much more sense why a regular human or person would agree to this, because they still stay themselves as a joining. So even if you agree and accept that it's a new person, part of that new person is still guilty. So when he brings up, oh, well, didn't you accept the responsibility of becoming a Trill when this happened? There's no answer to that. Like, she says yes, So at that point, I feel like if the mother didn't come in, she would have been, extradited. Like, they didn't have enough of an argument. They're saved by the mother coming in.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I just find it very interesting. And the fact that it's not just, oh, Sisko's correct and that's it. With Measure of Man, where you're so clearly on Picard's side.
In the case, if he actually did murder, like if they actually did, it'd be over.
Yeah, or if they didn't do it, but the wife just never decided to come in. Yeah, and never decided to show up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the argument only fell apart because of that.
Yeah, Sisko's actual arguments, while it raised good points, it wasn't enough to save the day because, in my opinion, he's wrong.
So in a way, they kind of saved themselves with that ending.
Well, yeah,
because I think for sure, Dax would be gone.
Mm-hmm. So but that doesn't mean the episode's bad. Like that's the way the story's written. I find it very interesting.
No, I love episodes endings like that where we win, but we don't win. We win in a different way.
And Sisko tried his hardest, and he made good arguments, and I love the scene with him. Probably my favorite scene in the episode was Sisko and Dax, and their whole conversation, and how he loses his temper, and she's like, oh, you still have that temper, And they talk about how he punched him and had the ring on, and she's like, I couldn't even wear it, slipped off my finger, and just all the little bits of lore from what the Trill experience is like. I loved all of that.
For sure. I got to shout out to Odo and Quark. I think that's also one of my favorite scenes where Quark doesn't want to play ball. And then Odo's just like, this ball's, the bar's a little too close to the exit. Just like zoning laws in this space station.
Yeah.
Outside of Bajor. Just great.
Makes me feel a little bit for Quark, like, oh man, like Odo could come in and just shut his
Yeah,
shit down.
Odo just comes in and bullies him and says, "Hey, I need this. You better give me this." I want to look up the guy who played the Trill representative because that guy has definitely been in something before Star Trek. Symbiosis. He was the other guy in Symbiosis with David.
Oh, interesting.
I fucking knew it. Yeah, he was
Good call.
He was the overactor.
Much better here.
Yeah, because the director told him, "Don't move." Okay.
Yeah, much better here. Yeah, very interesting. I also wanted to point out before we forget, Teleplay by DC Fontana.
Oh yeah, welcome back. Holy shit.
I remember she wrote, or at least had a writing credit on the pilot of TNG Encounter at Farpoint, and then just like left the show, or they had an argument or something. I don't remember what exactly the story was, but that's the last she did of TNG, and now she's back here in Deep Space Nine years later. Like, that's cool. Hopefully there's more.
She hasn't come back in TNG since then, really?
No, that's if I remember correctly. But that's cool she's back. I wonder if she'll be a regular or DS9 writer. Whatever the disagreement was on TNG, maybe it was with Gene or who knows who it was with, but maybe it's different people over here and she was welcomed back.
What's that? No. He's dead. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be right there.
Wait, was DC Fontana's reaction like the wife in this learning Curzon Dax died? Gene passed away 2 years ago. Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, so this guy being killed by the rebels and became a martyr, would exposing him just undo that planet's entire society? You think?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know about entire society, but it would be a blow. I mean, it would be like if we found out that, all of our founding fathers were like actually, not only just not a good guy, but the fact that he was literally a traitor. I think that'd be a big deal. Plus, he's the whole reason that they ended up winning that Civil War. So it'd be a blow.
But aren't they Cardassian allies? Who cares? Expose their ass.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't care about these people. I'm just saying that's the reality of what would happen to them. And she cares. The wife, she's part of them, so.
Gotcha. And I can't remember the reason why, but Sisko is above Dax, but Dax was Sisko's mentor. Do you remember if it explained in the pilot why Dax is now lower tier?
So Sisko was given this space station by the Federation, so he runs it, and then he brought in Dax as the science officer.
Okay. So
it was his choice.
So he got promoted, and then he brought it in. Okay.
Yeah, she could have said no, I guess, but that is interesting, and it brings up again with the Trill. I mean, what an overpowered species. Like, I would love it if I had to be born in the Star Trek world as not a human. I'd probably pick Trill, because you literally can just live forever, until you accidentally get killed or something.
That's another question. The host has to die at some point, right?
That's what happened to Curzon. That's why it switched to her.
No, I'm talking. No, not the host. The actual symbiote.
The Trill. I don't know. I don't know if they've explained what their lifespan is.
Because that one dude said he's been alive for 7 people. So.
And how do they procreate?
Maybe they don't.
Maybe we'll find out this stuff. But it's interesting.
No, I'm going to Google and spoil myself.
Yeah, I mean, for you'll end up getting spoiled somehow anyway.
I'll get spoiled somehow anyway.
You might as well just look it up. But yeah, I feel like it's very interesting, very overpowered. Of like you could just have multiple lifetimes, and now knowing that you become one with your host, it's not only multiple in terms of just years. It's literally different lives you're living. It's very fascinating. They've definitely shot up my list of favorite alien species in Star Trek for sure.
Yeah, and the host also probably gets the memories of the past people. Like, what's that like? You get like the guy with who's lived 7 lifetimes. Does he get the memories of the 6 people beforehand? Like the host gets the 6.
Yeah,
it's got to be trippy.
I feel like it because I mean, honestly, before this episode, I totally just pictured these hosts as the sunken place.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm picturing like it's almost like a euphoric experience. Like it's something these people would, be in lines to sign up for because it's like, imagine getting to join with this creature who gives you all of this knowledge and memories of all these past lives. And not only that, but it's still, in a way, you. Like, you're not going away, you're joining with this thing. It's very interesting.
Yes, but the decision-making, like, is it me that's raising my left hand, or is it the thing, or is it the Trill?
It's both.
How much is in control? Like, are you a completely new entity? But you still have memories from the past. Is it similar to reincarnation?
It plays on a lot of different things, yeah.
Let's say, for example, I was someone who lived in the 1940s and I was reincarnated. Do I get the memory? Like, am I that person from the 1940s, or am I the new? Like the ship at Theseus thing. Is it the ship? Like, what's the real ship?
But the thing is, in all of those examples, it's a replacement. So like if reincarnation is real, when you die and get reincarnated, you are a replacement of yourself. You don't remember those things. Even if you have those memories, you don't remember them.
Well, let's say if I do, though.
Well, if you did, I mean, that's essentially this scenario.
It's exactly this scenario.
But as far as we know, that doesn't happen. So I don't know what it would be like.
No, the shit is fake. Why would
But it's very interesting because it's like it's not a replacement; it's a new thing, and I just find that very fascinating. A much better idea than I'm a defender of the host, the TNG episode, but it's a much better idea than that. It's really fleshed this out to something I really am fascinated by.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't get another Romulan story or a Klingon story. I'm glad we're expanding on this species. I dig it.
We already said it wasn't our favorite or whatever, but did you have like any actual complaints about it at all? Like, it's interesting. If I was the type of person that was like, I don't agree with Sisko, so I don't like this episode, but that's not the type of viewer I am. Like, I was very entertained by it, and the themes are very interesting. So I was more so, if anything, the episode was better for me because I didn't agree with Sisko, because it was very interesting to me. I don't have any complaints other than it was maybe a little bit slow at parts and a little bit convoluted with the plot, but nothing that really like sticks out as anything I would complain about.
Not really, no. I'm just saying, like, overall, it felt very standard in terms of, our friend's framed for something, won't give us the details. Argument, both sides, outside thing.
The construction of the plot you're saying is very run-of-the-mill court thing.
Like this, a very common court-type episode that could be in any TV show ever. And it felt very, drag the template, put in our people.
Put in sci-fi elements, put in the Trill elements.
Put in our characters, yes.
And that doesn't mean it's bad
or
good.
The details inside were great, but just the overall structure and format and conclusion felt very, just run-of-the-mill.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That's probably what separates it as not being like a Measure of a Man or not being something amazing, but just still pretty good.
Well, I got to read this one for two reasons. One, because it's the lore, and two, because we've had Trill lore. The lore says, when this was airing, I had been banging my head up against a wall wanting to know more about Dax and the Trill, and they finally delivered. I like how proficient Odo is as a detective. I like Detective Odo as well.
And I love that he was against Dax, not in a menacing way, but he truly believed Curzon Dax did this. So he was the opposite of Sisko, where he was going into it looking for the evidence that he was guilty, but he says to Sisko, he's like, don't worry, I'll do my job. Like, he's going to be fair.
I love characters that have distinct opinions, but still do the other things. Also, the other side. I love how, like the episode with Worf, he wouldn't give his blood or whatever. I love when characters just have those distinct opinions about things. It makes them so interesting. Because otherwise, like, yeah, I'll do it. That's fine. But I love it. He's like, I don't want to do this. I'll do my job. Don't worry.
Or like if all of them were on board trying to defend Dax. Like, okay, that's fine, but it's cool to have a character that isn't.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Philip Grisha. This is the kind of episode I don't really like. Will one of our main characters be found guilty of murder? Obviously not. It doesn't help that they did a similar did he kill him plot with Odo just a few episodes ago. I didn't even think about that. The Odo one, the murder mystery episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that totally already left my brain.
I mean, I'm thinking of this more of just pure straight court.
Court,
there was no court anything in that one.
Yeah.
This one we got it.
But also, what do you think about the stakes? Because that's a good point. Did I ever think, Jadzia is going to be extradited and found guilty for murder and killed? No, but it didn't affect it for me.
No, I was more interested in the details and the arguments. I didn't even think about the outcomes of it. Because in the back of my mind, I knew we were going to be fine, but I loved hearing the arguments why. I mean, I think that's why it was good, because it was able to pull us away from that, well, we're going to be fine here. But then they actually, sit us down and give out all these details, making you go, oh, wow, that's a good point.
And I'll be honest, when Sisko kept arguing about, putting the focus on them being separate people, there was a small part of me that maybe could have believed that Curzon Dax murdered him. Like when we learned about the affair and we learned about all these things. The episode did a great job working you into where I didn't fully believe it and I didn't think that'd be the outcome, but it's like, okay, not the craziest thing in the world. We didn't know Curzon Dax. That's not our character, technically. So great job with that, but yeah, obviously I didn't believe that'd be the case. But I think that's kind of the whole point, right? A suspension of disbelief is like, the Enterprise isn't going to blow up. The person's not going to be found guilty of murder. How can the episode make you suspend that to enjoy it? And I thought this episode did a good job of that.
For sure. Ramus Calcutt says, classic exploration of morality in Star Trek, and it's good that we don't get a definitive answer. That's right.
Yeah, definitive answer when it comes to which part?
In terms of like the whole thing was just kind of thrown out.
Oh, yeah, like it wasn't a trial, so it's like, we're done here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, 100%. Captain JZH. Always liked how this episode used the station's special legal status being under Federation control, but still ultimately being Bajoran, to its advantage. It makes the setting all the more unique compared to if it was just set aboard a normal Starfleet station. 100%.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that scene, that great scene where they were buddy copping.
Yeah.
Cisco and Kira just, oh, well, actually.
Yeah, and I love when he's like, my conversation's with the commander, and he's like, actually, your conversation's with her now. I'm like, there you go. Like, they're great together already, and I love that, like, next episode, if something happened and they argued with each other, I would still believe it. You know what I mean? As to where, like, in TNG, you'd have to go pretty far for me to understand why Picard would be arguing with Riker about something. I mean, they could do it. It would work, but, like, here, it's still so fresh that it's like, oh, are these guys going to be at each other's throats this episode or working together in a team like this? You know, it's really cool.
It makes sense because they're kind of adversaries in some way. Like, they're not completely buddy-buddy. With Riker and Picard, they're kind of just sitting in the reading room, just, well, it could be this, or it could be that.
Yeah.
But here, at any point, they could just, I love the tension on the station. Like, no one's a friend.
And the fact that they can put it aside, though, and still work together. Yeah, is really cool.
I gotta read this exchange. Kingpin124 says, wait, is this the episode where Picard, Ro, Guinan, and Keiko get turned into kids? And Mordog Vape Lord says, sir, this is a deep space station.